Welcome back, everyone. Mike McConville here one more time at String Tech. We have this other guitar of Chris's. Now, you saw that Antonio Say guitar, that Vietnamese guitar with the spectacular inlay. Well, we have a very similar situation here. I started into leveling, taking more off the top end of the fingerboard at the nut, and I thought I'd better bring you guys into the loop on this so you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And of course, there's always a danger of losing some of that inlay because we have to do quite a bit of fingerboard correction to get this guitar to play like that Antonio Say guitar does. Like that other guitar, this bridge needs to be removed and re-glued. But I had one of my viewers had asked about that other guitar, said, I still don't understand why the bridge had to come off. Well, I want to show you this before I take this off so that I'll justify exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. As you can see, when I put that feeler gauge under there, this back part of the bridge, it's not something that you pick up at a glance. But I had indicated to Chris, the customer, that this bridge is indeed lifting, and unfortunately, like that other guitar, they actually finished right over the bridge. So we've got that sort of ridge line to kind of deal with again. I'm hoping in this case I'll be able to actually save this bridge, but we'll just have to wait and see as the job moves along. This is a pretty time-consuming job. I thought the best way to capture this for you guys is to just let the camera roll. But before I get started, I just want to explain again, most of the material is coming off here. So we're actually changing the trajectory of the neck slightly so that we get a little more height on that saddle in the bridge and a little more distance from the soundboard surface to the underside of the strings to drive the soundboard. I know my buddy Scott in Nashville, Scott St. Denis, who's a fabulous guitar tech. I know, Scott, you'd mentioned about that 10-inch, but look at this thing rocking here. We got a lot of material to take off here, but we're going to start here and make our way up. I have loaded that truss rod. This will be a complete refret. Almost the identical job I did to that Antonio Say guitar. We'll just let the camera roll. And you're going to see a lot of elbow grease involved to get this transformation. Well, I'm liking what I see so far. We haven't missed too much inlay. My real concern is that the neck to body junction, because that's really got to come down. I'm stopping to kind of explain what I'm doing, how I'm doing this. You can see that I'm gradually kind of making my way up the neck, taking most of the material off this end to kind of change that trajectory a little bit and buy back a little bit of real estate from the 40 years of Canadian winters that this guitar has been through. The goal here is not to save or to lose the inlay. The goal here is to make this guitar 100% playable, silky smooth, and perfectly in tune. And there's a bunch of different factors that come into play to make that a reality. Okay, so let's continue. Well, in the final analysis, we did actually lose a little bit of inlay, and that was to be expected at that neck to body junction. Now that the fingerboard and the trajectory of the neck has been corrected, I put my pilot frets in 3rd fret and in this case 13th fret. And when I put the straight edge on here, we are completely in the driver's seat. That's exactly what we want. We'll be able to put the action on this guitar anywhere we want. And we'll get a little bit of height off of that saddle too. And because the bridge is actually coming off, it's going to be radiused and re-glued. This will give us even more real estate of saddle projecting above the top of the bridge. 2 more bridge slotting jigs and a neck surgery kit. Just on my way to drop these off at UPS. And then I'll be back to put the rest of these frets in and slip off that bridge and radius and reglue. And this guitar just came in. Dan drove in from Toronto and dropped this off. This Jackson guitar, it'll be getting a compensated nut and set up to float. Those are bare knuckles pickups in there too. Can't wait to plug this thing in. So now take a look at this neck. And there is adjustment left on that truss rod too. Now Chris will be able to choose any string he wants, any action he wants. For the first time in many decades, this guitar is 100% adjustable. We could put the action anywhere we wanted. This surface of the soundboard is untouched since I pulled the bridge off. The surface on the foot of the bridge has been radiused to a 24-foot spherical radius. I didn't chance going any further than this because the wings are so thin on this guitar. We're really going to try to cover up this original footprint as best we can. This bridge was glued on before the finish was put on the guitar. It definitely, like that last Antonio Say guitar, man, that complicates things. Doing this on a Martin guitar is a piece of cake in comparison. I'm very gently going to sand with like a 400 grit and just touch this up, warm up some glue, and glue this into place. Now, the perimeter of the bridge, of course, is a perfect match because I didn't really touch anything and I didn't have to make a new bridge. It didn't take as much heat to get this off because it was glued on with wood glue as opposed to epoxy with that Antonio Say guitar. So we managed to actually save the finish, astoundingly, on the outside. This is Permambuco, the wood that's used for violin bows. The inlay, everything is basically original. Astoundingly, I managed to get that off. So because it was wood glue instead of epoxy, I went with a shorter heating period of 3.5 minutes with that 250 watt bulb, as you saw, and then gradually coaxed it off with these wedges. Ready to just kind of clean this up very carefully, very gently, kind of clean that surface up. Heat up the wood glue and glue this into place. After letting this sit overnight, now we'll take those clamps off and have a closer look and figure out how we're going to touch this up to make it look the best we can. Like I said, way more complicated when you put a finish on the bridge. You'd never see Martin or Gibson do that. Get that puck on there to clear the braces. So I did end up cutting up a bunch of future inserts because this can be substituted for Brazilian rosewood. It's a very close match in color. I like the fit that we've got in this, good press fit. Just scribe that.